Did you know that most people decide whether they want to continue watching a video in the first 10 seconds? In fact, studies show that 65% of viewers will leave a video if it doesn't catch their attention in those crucial moments. That means, when you're starting a story, whether in a video, a book, or even a conversation, you have less than 10 seconds to hook your audience. But here's the kicker: research also shows that a compelling story opening can increase audience engagement by up to 300%. Yes, you read that right. It's that powerful. So, if you can master the art of starting a story that grabs attention, you're not just telling a tale, you're keeping your audience on the edge of their seats. In this video, we'll dive into 6 unique ways to start your story with a bang. From mysterious hooks to emotional triggers, we're going to show you how to make your opening unforgettable. Stick around, because these tips will completely transform how you approach storytelling. Get ready to captivate your audience from the very first sentence. Chapter 1: The hook that haunts a story. Without a strong hook is like a book without a cover. It's easy to ignore. But a great hook does more than just draw attention, it sticks with you. Think of the opening line in The Hunger Games: "When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold." It's simple, yet powerful. This line immediately raises questions. Who is the character? Why is the bed cold? How does this relate to the story? The idea here is to create curiosity. When you open with a hook, you're presenting a mystery or question the audience can't resist. According to a study from the University of California, humans are naturally wired to pay attention to uncertainty. People are hardwired to seek answers. So, open your story with something that makes them want to know more. Chapter 2: The instant immersion. Sometimes, a hook isn't enough. You need to dive into the story so fast that your audience feels like they've been swept into another world. Think of how Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone opens with the odd, quirky descriptions of the Dursleys before magic even enters the picture. You're immediately thrown into a scene that feels different, yet you still have no idea what's going on. The goal of immersion is to transport your audience without waiting for them to settle in. A good strategy: start by describing something your audience can immediately feel or visualize. When the world feels real, they'll want to stick around to learn more. Chapter 3: Character injection. Introduce a wild card. Have you ever read a story where one character makes you sit up straight because you have to know more about them? That's the power of introducing a wild card. It could be a quirky sidekick, an unpredictable villain, or an eccentric protagonist. These characters stand out because they don't fit typical molds. Take the character of Joker in The Dark Knight. He's not just a villain, he's an enigma. The story kicks off with his chaotic introduction, and suddenly, you're invested. What makes him tick? We want answers. By introducing a unique character, you grab attention not just with the plot but with someone unforgettable. A study by Harvard University found that we connect to stories more when they involve emotional characters. A wild card can be that emotional anchor. If you want more storytelling tips, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the next chapters that will help you hook your audience every time. Chapter 4: Reverse chronology. Hook them with what happens next. Ever watched a movie that starts with a mind-blowing scene and then rewinds to show how it all happened? That's reverse chronology at work. It's like flipping to the last chapter of a book, reading the ending, and then racing to find out how it got there. This technique creates suspense and intrigue in an instant. Christopher Nolan's Memento is a prime example of this. The entire movie starts in the middle of a mystery, and the audience is hooked from the very beginning, wondering how things will unfold. It's a clever way to make sure your audience sticks around. You give them a taste of the climax and then challenge them to piece the rest together. Studies have shown that the brain reacts more to suspenseful or unexpected situations. The brain's dopamine levels rise when we encounter something surprising, so when you start with a reversed timeline, you keep your viewers on their toes, making them eager for answers. Chapter 5: The inversion. Flipping expectations from the start. Sometimes, starting a story with a familiar scenario only to flip it on its head is the perfect way to grab attention. This strategy plays on the idea of expectation. We've all seen movies or read books that open with a traditional scene, a hero about to fight a villain, or a couple sharing a quiet moment, only to suddenly turn everything upside down. In The Matrix, for example, the film begins with a seemingly normal computer hacker. But then, bam! He's offered a red pill that sends him on a wild journey. This inversion of expectations shakes up the audience's normal way of thinking. They expect one thing, but you give them something entirely different. Inversions are powerful because they make us challenge our assumptions. According to psychological research, our brains get bored when things feel too predictable. By flipping those expectations, you create something engaging and surprising right at the start. Chapter 6. The emotional trigger. Another great way to grab attention is by appealing directly to your audience's emotions. Emotion is a powerful tool for any storyteller. Whether you start with joy, sadness, fear, or excitement, emotions have an instant effect on people. You're not just telling them a story, you're making them feel something. For example, in Up, the movie starts with a beautifully tragic montage of Carl and Ellie's life together. It's heart-wrenching, and it immediately connects the audience to the characters on an emotional level. You don't need complex dialogue to grab attention, just a raw emotional truth. In fact, studies show that emotional connections to stories increase retention and empathy. When people feel something deeply, they're more likely to stay engaged and remember your story long after it ends. So, begin your story with a scene that triggers an emotional reaction, and you'll hook your audience from the start. If you've enjoyed these tips, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more ways to become a master storyteller. These techniques will help you captivate your audience every single time. The key to starting any story that grabs attention is about creating curiosity, immersion, and connection right away. Whether it's through a haunting hook, an unforgettable character, or an emotional punch, the goal is simple: make the audience feel something they can't shake off. If you can make them wonder, care, or even feel a little off balance, you've won them over. So, the next time you're crafting a story, remember these strategies. Start strong. And don't be afraid to throw out the rules. The best stories don't just follow a formula, they rewrite it.